Hello, ladies. How's it going? How was that for timing? Exactly 8:30. I'm going to give people just a few moments to join. I'm Twanna Carter, and I coach purpose-driven women who are unhappy with their career and where they are in life. And I coach them so that they can overcome anxiety and transition fears to accelerate their careers and enjoy life. So, if you've been keeping tabs, you know I've been out of pocket for about 2 weeks. My sister and I actually rented an RV and we drove to Maine just to get away. I've been in the house since COVID, since March. I'm high risk for COVID-19. So I really wanted to get out of the house without being around a lot of people. And so many of you may have seen my pictures, and I'll be posting here and there, but it was absolutely fantastic. We were at Bar Harbor, Maine, and our campground was right there on the shore. And of course, Acadia National Park is just beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful areas of the country. So, and I can say that because I haven't been to Washington State yet, and that's supposed to be really pretty as well. So, as we give people a moment to come on, let me say thank you for being here tonight. And I'm a little rusty because I've not done this for 2 weeks. I gotta get back on my horse and get back into the swing of things. So today I'll be sharing about what is career change, like what is it, and then can you really prepare for career change? So we'll be talking about that, right? And so I do want to say thank you for joining. And as well, those of you catch me on the replay, as always, I am so appreciative thank you for that. I do appreciate it. And so you will see a chat box. So if you have some questions, you have some comments, go ahead and drop your chats there, and I'll be looking at that periodically as I go through to be sure I answer that while I am on air. But those of you who catch this on the replay, be sure to put your comments there as well, because I do circle back to answer questions or to attend to comments, or if you want to set up a consultation, a free consultation, anything you need, I'll be there. And same thing for those of you, because I am doing this on Facebook. So welcome to Facebook, welcome to YouTube, and welcome if you're watching from my business page at Twanna Carter Professional and Personal Coaching. So without further ado, we want to go ahead and get started, because if you join late, you can kind of watch the replay and get it right. And so again, we're talking about what is career transition, and then how do you prepare for it. So one thing we know, that if you are working, you will at some point probably experience career transition. We all do. Some of us do it really great, some of us not so great, right? The thing with career transition is, if it happens like predictably, you said, okay, I've run this course on this job and I've accomplished everything I need to. It's time for me to go to this job, and you take the time out and you prepare for it. You can still get anxious, because a lot of people do. It's change, and nobody really likes change, right? But if career change is like, bam, you got fired, or bam, COVID-19 hit and displaced you, your company closed down, or it moved, it just all those sorts of things that happen with COVID-19, it can really cause a lot of anxiety, right? It just does, because number one, most of us don't like change. But when you have something like a pandemic, or you get fired, or you have a flood that comes through and just destroys your workplace, all of a sudden you're kind of pushed in career change, and you weren't really prepared for it. You were not expecting it. It wasn't really on your horizon. So whether you are preparing for career change, and and some of us still get anxious about that, or this was totally unpredictable, there is something you can actually do about it to help in that process, right? And so transitions can be, again, predictable, or they can be totally unpredictable, right? COVID-19, totally unpredictable. Okay. Sometimes we kind of know, depending on your position in a job, you kind of know if they're going to go belly up or something, Or they say, hey, they come up and say, hey, in this amount of time, we're going to be closing doors. And they bring in career counselors and they bring in career coaches. And that's more predictable, right? Sometimes career change is positive or it's negative. For instance, if you get fired, that's one of those career changes that it goes through the roof. Like whammo, anxiety through the roof. Sometimes it causes depression. Some career change is voluntary. We just said, I don't want to do this anymore, or I've reached as far as I can go here. It's time for something else. And sometimes it's involuntary. If you're in a relationship and one of you gets a really nice job somewhere else and you decide to follow that spouse, that's kind of involuntary. It's voluntary, but it's kind of involuntary, right? Career change can also be sudden or it can be gradual. I've been in career changes somewhere I've been in 2 years. The process has taken 2 years, right? So sudden or gradual, it can be either one. So what are some of the things that career change has, career transition? You would say that fast a lot of times. What are some of the things that they have in common? They typically involve stress. Even if you're voluntarily leaving one career and transitioning to another, it just causes stress, whether it's voluntary or involuntary, it causes stress. It also typically requires new behaviors or new thinking. And that's a little stressful on, trying to get in and figure out what new skills you need. And that's one of the things it has coming is you can benefit from new skills. But as you're trying to do all that and assimilate and get used to the new place, and it could be a new route that you're traveling, all of that goes into it requires new behaviors and thinking, and you benefit from new skills. So some of the most common career transitions, they include a change in job function. So you can be at your job and get a new job, or you can be at your job and keep your old job and get some new functions to that job, right? Or you could totally change industries altogether, or you can change your job and industries altogether. Been there, done that. I left the military and transitioned into civilian life. I became a teacher. I've been a health inspector. I've been a vocal rehab specialist. I've been a counselor, which I still do, and I own 2 businesses. So you can transition totally something different or something within, right? Sometimes another common career transition includes organizational change. If you're bought out by another company, yeah, you got some transitions that's going on there. It could be a layoff or furlough. Some people did that. You remember the federal government last year was on a furlough for about 35 days or whatever. So many people just said, forget it. I'll just get a new job, or I'll have to do something temporary till this opens back up. So that's fairly common. And oftentimes another common reason for a career transition is actually moving to a different state or a different country or a different city. Sometimes it's a different city. And then the last most common reason for a career transition is just for a career break. Sometimes you have that really high stress, high anxious job, and you just need a career break. You need that time to take care of yourself emotionally, to take care of yourself mentally, to take care of your family, to do some things, just kind of get that even keel before you come back to the workplace. And sometimes, women will have a baby, and that's a career break. And sometimes dads will have have that break as well, because they're at home helping to take care of the new child. Or some people may even adopt, right? That's a career break. It depends on where you are, but those are some common reasons why career transition happens. And so the next part is like most important part, because we know what it is and we know what happens, but can you really prepare for it? Absolutely. Absolutely. You can prepare for a career change. And I told you that I've been in a career change that it was about 2 years long. I knew when I was working on my master's degree that I could not go back to the job I had. That was the whole purpose of the master's degree, was to get a new job. So for me, that transition period was right at 2 years. A long transition period. Not everybody's transition period is that long, but whether you have a short one, voluntary, involuntary, sudden, or, you expected it, one of the things that you can do is decide, step one, decide if you need a career change. Just decide that. I did. I looked at it and said, this job is getting more difficult by the moment. The prospects of getting promoted kind of slim to none because there were so many people waiting in line for a promotion. So I made a decision that, yeah, I'm going to do a career change, And in my case, I went a different route. I went and got a master's degree for my career change. Let me say that you don't have to always get a new education, another set of education to do a career change. If you can, if that's your thing, it works, but you don't always have to. I've done many career changes, career transitions, and I didn't have to get re-educated for it. All right. And so once you've made that decision, sometimes it's making a decision with you and your spouse or your partner, your kids, your parents, your family, whoever is involved in that. Decide if you want to do a career change, if you got people in your support network to talk to. Number two, the second step is to do an assessment of yourself. Do a really honest to goodness assessment, right? That's important because that's how you find out what you bring to the table. And also, which is where I come in as a career transition coach, is I get a lot of people that don't know what their skill sets are. They don't know what their value is. So they know they need to do a career transition, but they're not really confident in what they bring to the table, which ups the ante, the anxiety, it ups, and they just get stuck where they don't need to be, but they're too afraid to make that leap because they don't quite understand their value. But do a really good assessment of your skill sets, and not just the skills that you had when you came onto this job. If you've been at a job 10 years, you have lots of skill sets. You've learned many new things. Pull out those old job descriptions, pull out those new job descriptions, look at what you do on a daily basis. One of the tips that I do, and I typically have my clients do before they make it, is I run a weekly tally of my skills, what I do, all the tasks that I do on a weekly basis. I don't always do it on a daily basis, but certainly 3 to 4 days that week, I'm writing down what I did. Because first of all, when it comes down to timing and evaluation, you're going to have that stuff. But it's important when you start to assess yourself, you don't really remember, or you're not sure, you don't feel confident in what your skill sets are, then you can go and drag all those notes that you've been keeping weekly. You know what you bring to the table because you've been annotating it week by week. So that's a skill that I have my clients do. Number 3, make a list of occupations to explore, because once you assess yourself and you know what your skill sets are, then you start looking at how those skill sets match up to the jobs. What's open? What's available? Very important. And don't just go, I just got to do the same thing I got to do because I've been doing it 10 years. Absolutely not. I am on my 6th career. I think if I'm counting 6th career, 6 different things, 6. Transition probably about 8 times, but I've transitioned into that 8 times. A couple of times I did the same thing, but I'm on my 6th career, right? You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to be re-educated to do it, but you have to do a really great assessment and look at and explore jobs, because some jobs, the skill sets are transferable, right? Then also, step number 4, because it was 1, decide if you need a change. Step 4, assess yourself. Step 3, make a list of occupations to explore. Step 4 is explore the occupations on your list. Don't just write them down, but actually explore. Do they need additional education? Do you need to take another class to update your resume? Here's where you can do information interviews. Find someone who's already doing what you do. Do an informational interview to see how your skill sets match. Just dig deep down and explore about that job. So definitely explore the occupations on your list, right? And then number 5 is just continue to narrow down that list. Because if you're wanting to, say, do a transition and it needs to happen fairly soon because your company is getting ready to reorg, downsize, and you're probably going to lose your job, well, then you want to narrow down quickly and let the jobs that you narrow down to be something you can jump into with very little or no training, right? So narrow down that list. Number 6, conduct informational interviews. I kind of gave that away up there, and explore the occupations on your list. Informational interviews are a really great way to find out about that occupation, that new career. Find out if you really like it. Because I've, worked with people who have just been excited to get the job, and they get there and they're like, oh, I don't like this job. Where if you do an informational interview, you can kind of narrow that down, right? And you can find out what you need to by doing the informational interview. And you can also do some networking in the process, right? And then number 7, set your goals. After you've assessed yourself and you've explored occupations and you've narrowed them down and one by one compared your skill sets to, the new occupation that you look at, set your goal for what you want to do. Well, what does that mean? Well, what job do you want? It could be, and I've done this, I've actually applied for 3 totally different jobs all at the same time. If you've done a good assessment, you can actually do that. 3 different resumes, 3 different jobs, right? You set your goals. And if you're not looking for a job to say 6 months from now, it's okay to start now. Sometimes employers are willing to work with you. If you've been searching for a job 3 months, you don't want to leave 6 months, they'll actually say, okay, let's negotiate and make it 5 months. Can you be here in 5 months? You just never know. But set those goals when you want to do that career transition. What does your family think? Get their involvement. There's a whole lot of things you can do when you're setting your goals. And then the last step 8, is write a career action plan. Write that plan. I know that my skill sets are these, and I'm going to apply for the jobs in here. I've updated my resume. I'm a big fan of, I have a lady, Nancy Segal, that does my resumes for me. Yes, I do them for my clients, but I still have someone else do mine. She does a fantastic job, and that's time that I don't have to spend doing my own resume. So whether you do your own, whether you work with the career transition coach to do it for you, or you hire someone to help you with their resume, that's part of your career action plan. Write that resume. When do you want to go? What networking do you need? Do you need to go to networking events? If those things scare you, don't do them, right? Those things will all go in your career action plan. So absolutely, you can prepare for career transition. And again, your preparation time depends on your situation. If you know that your company is reorganizing in 6 months or a year, you can prepare for that. In my case, like I said, for my master's degree, I knew what I was doing. I had 1.5 to 2 years to transition. So by the time I got ready to transition, I had been doing a job search. I set up a job search every day to come to me. You don't have to do that. You can set up a job search to send you jobs on a weekly basis. Then it just helps you to know what's on the horizon out there, what's going on and what's available. So all those things go into, the more you can prepare for a career transition, the more you're able to manage, just the stress that comes along with changing careers. So let's just recap a little bit. I told you that I will talk about what career transition is, as well as how you can prepare for it. And let me just check out there. And I don't have any comments, so we are good there. And so I do appreciate you for coming. I want to say that tomorrow I have like a follow-up. I have no idea what that noise was. Must be an Amber Alert on my phone, which my phone is actually muted, but the Amber Alert will come over that. So just want to be sure, because I don't have any idea what that sound was. Okay. Okay. Somebody call me on Voxer. Okay. Interesting. On live, right? But tomorrow I will be discussing how to manage anxiety while you're in career transition. So today, much of this information was for people thinking about it, preparing for it, but some of you are already in career transition. So come back tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad place. 8:30 tomorrow, right here. And I'll be talking about managing anxiety while you're in career transition. Now, if you are there and you are looking to join a support community, go ahead and click. I will throw my link in the chat box as well. You can also see it scrolling across where I have the link to my group. It's a free group. I invite professional women to come in. And let's see, can I do it? Yes, I think I can. Yes. I'm going to throw that link out there so you can join my, it's a free support group. Come out there and we discuss all things career transition and managing anxiety while you're in career transition. So again, it is there. You should be getting it right about now. Thanks for joining. And I do appreciate you catching me on the replay. And I will see you back here tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.